Yeah. All right. No. Where do I share my screen? In here.
It's the box with an arrow on it.
Yeah. Perfect. Entire screen. This one. Share. Perfect. Can everyone see my screen?
I can see your screen. Can everyone else see your screen?
I hope so. I will. Okay. All right. So so the next 2.5 hours, that could be reduced to a couple hours if if everything goes smoothly. Um, or the goal is to define a bit broadly what we think of when we say what marketing and communication is, and also bring it a bit down to the context of the delivery co-ops, CoopCycle as an organization. So how and why do we need to use marketing and communication? Then some design tips related to these communication campaigns, how to actually implement all this brand awareness into our companies, how to put it into practice with some quick tips. Also, then we're gonna check into what now food is doing because it's a very nice example, and then we're gonna share like how to organize it in some template that yeah, so everyone can follow and have a plan and all that. Please let me know if it's too basic, if you feel like we should skip some parts, or if something needs to be yeah uh, emphasized on. Okay. What's marketing? um, Basically, everyone knows a little bit of what marketing is, right? Or we've heard something about I don't know. It comes from the time when there were more products in offer than what people was demanding. So basically, you need to make yourself visible in the market. That's what marketing comes from. Okay, so yeah, we've all seen advertising all the time, all day. It's not a new thing, but the thing that we might not be super aware of is like the thinking process behind it, or the people that make it, and why do brands need it so much. And they need it, and they pay a lot of money for it, and the value of advertising is it's huge. It's not only advertising, but it's also like how do we identify a brand? What color do we know that goes with a logo? How Why? Because when we see half of a logo, we know the rest of it. For example, we see those fries in the top right corner, and we know it's McDonald's, and we just know it because of that little red and the shape and everything, right? So that's what we are aiming for, to create to search like and to search a strategy where we can make our co-op or our brand, our company visible in the market and easy to identify, and have a coherent communication. So what's not marketing? uh, okay Basically, oh yeah, sorry. What's marketing? Shit, sorry. I guess you have to say it. Okay. Yeah, what's marketing? It's not only advertisement. Okay, so it's not just like we put a picture on a bus stop and something, and that's it. No, marketing is like it has to be a coherent thing that occurs in a lot of different contact points with a client. Let's take McDonald's for example. Like you are driving on a road, you see a sign of a McDonald's on the road, and you have been impacted by that. But then you pass by and you see the restaurant and it has a sign on it, and you have again been impacted by that. And then you enter the restaurant, and you see the little logo on the red box of the fries, and you everything is like connected. Okay, that's the marketing itself. That's how McDonald's is positioning itself in the market. So it's important to keep like a line that's coherent in all the times that it will contact with the customer. Or there is some Spanish in there, but so this marketing can be approached in several ways, right? Like there's this brand awareness, which it's this holistic approach of like taking the whole brand as an entity, and make people realize like what values are behind that brand, how they should think about this brand. For example, Apple, right? Everyone thinks of Apple as something like it's innovative, it's expensive, and you understand the principle behind the brand itself. Um, Direct response. This is like very direct. It doesn't require a brand. It's more a marketing of hey, we have a 70% offer on this course. Go and buy it, and they buy it. Okay, they don't know anything about the brand that created that course. They don't know anything about it. But that direct response is what that marketing specifically is looking for. And then there is lifestyle branding that that it goes a little bit beyond the brand awareness. Sort of when a brand integrates into someone's life. Okay, that's for example what Starbucks is trying to do. So they want that people lives within an Starbucks aesthetics, or within like Starbucks is part of your daily life in a way. Uh, it's a yeah, I don't know, it's so everyone is on one side aware of the brand awareness of Starbucks. It's like well, it's garbage coffee actually, but they present themselves as like super um, trendy, always in the city center, very large coffee for people that mm, demand a very personalized service, for example. Yeah, and then the lifestyle branding would be like how a client is integrating Starbucks into their actual daily life, or in their routine, or in their yeah, in their lifestyle basically. So yeah, if we put them in order, there are one, two, three, but actually like direct response marketing would be like the first thing, like super basic. It's just one item of action. Then if we put a lot of direct response marketing, we might end up with something similar to a brand awareness, as a conclusion of that. And then lifestyle branding is when that brand awareness just permeates into more of a permanent state, where it is just part of our lives. Okay, brand awareness, exactly. Apple, we all know. Please let me know, translators, if I'm going too fast, if yeah, if I'm going too slow, anything. Okay, what's that? I cannot see anything if I am presenting, so please talk. But yeah, good,
It's okay. It's okay.
perfect. Um, yeah, okay. So yeah, we might skip some of these quickly because I just went through some of the examples before. But yeah, the brand awareness requires a lot of consistency and regularity. This is the key. Like you won't see an Apple, an iPhone advertisement on a bright yellow color with some blue letters saying new. You won't see that. You will always see very exquisite, very minimalist pictures of anything that's related to Apple. And it's not only the brand, the fonts they use, it's just the vibe. Okay, that's um, they want to transmit intelligence. They want to transmit smart, expensive, elegant, and they do that with every single thing that you interact with regarding Apple. So that's the consistency and regularity um, kind of thing. It's an expensive thing to integrate within a company, not only because it's a lot of things that you have to take into account in order to how many things you have to design and how careful you have to be, but also because it takes a long time. It has to be consistent from the time you start, or from one moment on. You have to be consistent all the time. Regarding direct response marketing, this is more, let's say, um, a campaign, more than a brand. It's a campaign like, hey, this week we have 50% off. Okay, and you want clients to increase you want to increase your revenue that week because more clients will be pushing the buy button because we happen to have a 50% off sale this week. um, yeah, so this is what they do long term. Companies like the annoying phone companies, or light and like electricity and gas companies, or things like that, that we might be more familiar with, because they call, they convince you of something, and then you forget. So yeah, it's profitable, for these kind of companies to embrace into these practices, but maybe not so much for cases like a little delivery co-op somewhere in Europe. All right. So basically, the moment you need to to engage into the purchasing process of someone that has a problem, that is hungry or needs a laptop or something, they will search for information. They will say like, okay, I'm hungry. I will look for a restaurant. It can be on Google Maps, it can be on Instagram, whatever. In the case of a laptop or something more expensive, they can start checking reviews. They can, um, yeah. And then in the case of the food, at the moment they see a tasty, yummy photo of a pizza or something, they might as well jump in. And then in the case of the laptop, they will probably start comparing features, checking more into the price and stuff. This is, in this case, actually, it's very distinct. There are two cases of being hungry at a very basic level. It's a very irrational, and it's a short-term decision making, and it affects like basically your more basic instincts. Like you need food, you are hungry, and you see the tastiest thing, and the decision making is pretty short. In the case of a laptop, it's more expensive. You have to think more in a more rational way of the on the purchase you're gonna make, and you might as well spend more time checking opinions of other people, checking reviews, considering making waiting a little bit and investing a bit more in something better, maybe not, whatever. But this is like these two paradigms, or of think slowly and think quickly. And these two thinking patterns are something to have into account in the moment we create a marketing campaign or we make a brand. Like, are we targeting someone to just click on the button, like very direct, because of the awesome picture of a burger that we have published? Or do we want to slowly build a brand that communicates the values of how cooperative we are and how nice we are with the restaurants we work with, and they make like a slow and reflective and meditated decision on why they're gonna order food? They can either think fast and choose the burger, or they can think slow and know for a long time that this company works in a certain way, and why they're gonna choose it. Exactly. Here we can see like the decision of making the purchase. It can be a tricky moment, and this requires a lot of design and see like how the customer behaves in real life. For example, it can be like €2 is expensive for delivery. Okay, people like Deliveroo or companies doing this for a long time, they have noticed that delivery seems to be expensive if it goes above 2 euros. Okay, so we can do a marketing thing of saying like, yeah, delivery is 1 euro, but then the rest of the delivery cost is within the price of the product. In that way, people will feel like, hey, yeah, the delivery is cheap. Okay, that's a strategy. That's a marketing decision that will influence on the purchase decision of the customer. Um, okay, then it's important that the feedback or the evaluation phase of the customer, um, and this is actually one of the most critical parts, and it's important to keep in mind that your service needs to not only fill the expectations, but be something that the customer feels grateful for, so in order to get a recurrent customer. In our industry specifically, like deliveries and stuff, it's not like there's endless people in the city, so it's important that you manage to lock customers in that will develop a habit, hopefully, of whenever they want to order food, that they go directly to your service. So it's very important to think of this whole aspect of it during the marketing, and during the development of the service, actually, like what price points are we showing to influence in the purchase decision. um, did we meet the expectations? Did we set the expectations too high for ourselves, so customer was disappointed? um, how do we keep customers? Do we contact all customers every once in a while? Do we create loyalty programs so people can feel that they are kind of mm, yeah, building into the into their profile to get more benefits or something? But yeah, this is like the whole system should head into how do we get customers that get yeah, that come back to us. Alrighty. The process, like, hold on a second. Seconds, yeah, okay, so it's always going to be like in a circle. Like, people is always going to be hungry, okay, and there will always be a point where they are aware of you, or they research you and they find you. They they compare between other options, they make a purchase, and then they have an opinion of you, and if it's good, you will retain them and get them again. And next time they will be more aware of your existence, and they will research less, hopefully, and there won't be a need to compare anymore because they know you. And when you win every time you retain a customer into this buying cycle. um, it's easy to do that when you think of the whole process from the beginning, like how am I gonna retain it, what's my strategy towards that. But it's not easy to get customers into this cycle if you don't have a brand awareness into your company established, because every time they research, they might see a different picture of there's a brand that it's not easy to recognize, the logo is too complex and they don't read it, your name is not easy to remember. There might be a lot of factors, but this is why it's important to have in mind that yeah, if we put our brand and our marketing upfront for this purpose, and we make ourselves easier to recognize, easier to find online when they are making some research, and we show our strengths in a way that's easy to pick us if when the client is making a comparison. This is the way that we are inserting ourselves in this cycle.
One thing we mentioned last year is that it's important to pick in which moment you want to put a lot of your effort. So A lot of people use Instagram, and that's Instagram is good, but it's an awareness step, and awareness is expensive. You have to spend a lot of time on Instagram. It's like Coca-Cola. There's just ads for Coca-Cola everywhere, and it's really hard. It takes a lot of effort to get people just think of Coca-Cola. I'm thirsty, Coca-Cola, right? And that's not the only way to do things, right? So, for example, if your restaurants have really good reviews in Google Maps and your cooperative is linked on their Google Maps page, people might be investigating where to eat on Google Maps and find you through that. And that might be a more effective way to get them to find you by all of your messengers giving really good reviews for all of your restaurants or something. A comparison, there's 5 steps, and many times like picking one and trying to make a lot of like how do we communicate with someone this exact moment is a good exercise to do. This isn't only for like food tech cooperatives marketing as well. One example is that um, the local government used to ask for us to do posters and put them up on the street, and then they kind of stopped for some reason. We never really knew why. And then this week we started getting them again, and it's because someone who is in the office has worked with us on a grant project, and so they were aware of us because we'd done a different activity with them. They see us regularly. Maybe it's you see them in a market, whatever. But because they were aware of us, they just had us in mind. When someone said, "Who do we want to have these posters be? Who do we want to give these posters to?" Someone said, "Oh wait, the guys from Eraman. They're nice. I like them," and so it went to them. So it's not just for food tech; it's also for other types for local commerce or for whatever it is. But think very much about like when is someone deciding how they're going to purchase your product? Is it because they spend a lot of time researching because it's a computer, or is it that they spend a lot of time just thinking about food because they're hungry all the time? Awareness, or what's the place you want to insert yourself based on what who they are and what they're looking for?
Mhm. Thanks. Um, okay. So regarding the within the this purchase process, regarding the step of the research or the comparison, it's very interesting. Like again, like a big company in terms of laptops, like this example here, it's important for them to show up when people search for best laptop. Okay, so like it's a good thing for a company selling laptops to create a segmented advertisement that will pop up when people looks for best laptop. um, yeah, this is probably where Google gets most of their money because of the first 3 or 4 links when you search for something are ads for companies that they just want to insert themselves within those keywords that you search for. um, and it's a way for a company to be present when someone is searching for a specific thing. I'm hungry, Eraman, or I want a new laptop, HP, Asus, Mac, whatever. Um, this yeah mm, like it used to be in newspapers and now it's all SEO. It's organic marketing on social media. It can be anything, but it's just a matter of inserting yourself whenever someone is searching for information or comparing among options. It This one usually requires digital advertising money, Google ads, Facebook ads, and all the sort. But it can also be done in new innovative ways, like people go to social media foodie profiles of people researching their city for the nicest restaurants in town. So it's also an easy and very friendly way of reaching some people on social media and saying like, hey, do you mind if we make a video of our services for people that go into your profile for searching for restaurants? Then they will show up as an option when they are checking making some research for the restaurants. Okay. um is there anything to add here, Paul? What do you think?
No, I think it's good.
Alrighty. Then, once the customer has done this research and they have compared the options they have, okay, they decide for one option. Then you have them in your store for a moment. Okay, now it's a key time to use the rest of your user experience and your design of all your the photos you took, all the logos you have. Now everything has to be mm, in a nice package, so the purchase experience is seamless, so to speak. Here is where the customer will decide if they are happy or not with the service, if they if yeah if it will be easy to remember for next time, if it will be a satisfactory experience, if they will remember it nicely or not. um yeah, it's a lot of effort should be put into how to make this um seamless, as fast as possible, as simple as possible. um So on one side, there is this effort that CoopCycle is making within the app to make it intuitive and to make easy to know, like, okay, I'm choosing this, I'm picking this different delivery time. That's within the app. But as the small cooperatives can, what?
No, keep going. Just when you're ready, I'll chip in.
Ah, good. Uh, no, no, I mean, I was just hearing something. Okay. So the thing is, like, also as small cooperatives, apart from that CoopCycle app, um, we can alter that purchase experience in a lot of ways. Like previous to the app, the entry point to the app can be a lot of different things. Like it can be through our social media, like a funny post with a link to the app or something, or it can be that our restaurants all have like a QR code. Like when they are done eating there, they get like, hey, do you want it at home next time? Here is a free delivery for the first time you order. For example, the purchase experience can begin in a lot of different ways. Then you have them funneled within the app. Then that's a CoopCycle territory. The experience is um, locked into the intuitiveness of the app. And then after the experience, after the purchase, here is where the service comes in, and how good we are with the service and solving any issue that the client might have. It's this is all part of the same purchase experience, even if they already paid. It's important to then deliver what you promise, and also to yeah, to later like be on top of their opinion, like hey, if you were happy with this, leave us a review, or if you made 10 orders this month, here is a voucher for the next one is free. And all this enriches the experience of the customer in the end. So and if we
What
take, yeah.
I wanted to add one thing, which is just to give a sort of a simple example. Some of us in Eraman have sort of taken over an experimental kitchen vegan thing, uh, and about 20% of our clients are international people, which is really funny because there are almost no international people in my city. And so all of a sudden we have all these Germans and Dutch people and some French people, and it's been like, where'd they all come from? And it's because someone, when they started this project a year ago, made an account on a vegan restaurant website called Happy Cow. And there is a very small number of people who use Happy Cow who are international traveling vegans, but every one of them takes research very, very seriously because they go somewhere and they can't eat anything. And so they go to the Happy Cow restaurant and they find us. And so they are people who it's really, really important, that demographic, it's really important to be in the research phase. But then we have people in Gaste's, that's only 20% of our market. For them, it's a research thing. For other people, the purchase experience, it's for people that live in the city, it's 110%. We need to make sure that the purchase experience was really fun. They really enjoyed being in the restaurant, and then they'll come back 2 weeks later with more of their friends. And it's an example of, we start with demographics, we think about who is the customer I want to communicate with, and then you pick something to focus on. And so that's to give one sort of practical example of how this can be interesting and useful. So in regards to whatever your business is, whether it's food tech or last mile local commerce, what does the purchase experience look like for the client, and is that the place where you're trying to insert yourself most heavily or not? I wanted to add that.
Great. Okay. Uh, yeah. Regarding the evaluation, like this nowadays is it's a critical thing. It's very important for, especially within the food tech industry. For the rest, is more word of mouth kind of thing, where a client of yours can speak to another
¿Ah?
client.
No, no, quiero el video. Estoy aquí solo para poner, eh, para decir que estoy.
Emi, te escuchamos.
Ah, merde.
All right. Um, okay. So regarding yeah, 5-star reviews, and it's yeah, it's critical. For example, like, it's critical, especially in the beginning of a company starting a service, to get these 5-star reviews. So it's this is a part of the branding you are projecting. Like if you present yourself as a very professional, fastest in town um, delivery service, and then you have like a bunch of 1-star reviews, like your legitimacy is not coherent. It's like people is not happy with how fast you are or how whatever. So in whatever you do, like in the beginning, it's good to ask all your friends to rate this service, or your clients to leave a review if they're happy, and all that. We for a while used to have some 1 review stars. We still do, because someone saw us driving like on some pedestrian spot, and some 1-star reviews because my food arrived cold. And you may have some of those, but it's important to have some others that will compensate that. um, yeah. Okay. So that until this point is like um, how the purchasing process, it's some sort of within the brand you want to create. Okay, like for direct response marketing, it's more of a, yeah, like how you grab a customer, and then you make it yours until they, yeah, um the like a phone company. I don't know if I am maybe taking this one not so much into account, but for our kind of sector, it's not that much of a kind of marketing point that we should be aiming for. So I might be a little bit faster on this one, but yeah, in this one, the key element of this is like how you find the customer you want. Like if you make a call to someone that you know that needs your services and offer something that they will say yes to, and they sign on a contract for a year for the flat delivery fee service on a 50 euro a month for the deliveries you need, and you can do that on a call. that's the that's another, yeah, sector, but you need to put a lot of emphasis on analyzing the customers you are aiming to. It's not so much as presenting your brand and letting the customers get to know your brand, but it's you getting to know your customers, and chiming in, or like intercepting them whenever they are more in need of your services. Okay, so it can be like mm, yeah, like going on the street one day and delivering flyers to a certain people that goes out from a certain company that know that they will be needing some certain whatever. But it's more of knowing specifically who you are targeting. and then finding a way to intercept them and to get a sell for as long time as you can. Yeah, picture a phone company calling home or something. um, okay, it's important also, like not only to identify your target, like the who you are selling your services to, um, but also who you are competing against, to know what you should put emphasize what you should put emphasis on your services or your strengths, so to speak. So within food delivery, we know like Deliveroo as a version of the app that we want to solve, but we are also competing with people that want just to eat at home. So it's not only we are not only competing with the other apps, we are also competing with people not ordering delivery. So it's not only that you have to make it better than the apps, but you also have to make it easy and not super expensive, so people can take that as an option when they want to have dinner. Okay. In the sector of last mile, it can be like another company at your city that does some last mile for big operators, some freelancer with a van or something, or also like big bigger organizations like Amazon that integrate everything vertically, like from the um, internal logistics to the selling to the delivery to so yeah. um, so once you identify like who you are competing with, you can like yeah, analyze how do they sell their services, what's their strength points. If I am talking to DHL and they are already working with a freelancer on a van, how did that freelancer get that job? Why are they choosing him? Like how can we reinforce the fact that we is it okay, we don't have vans, but maybe they don't care about that. So we deliver super quick and in places where the van cannot get. Okay, maybe that's our strength of ours. So by reading what the competition is doing and how they are landing clients and how they are selling their service, um, it's a very easy way to identify like what our strengths are and how to communicate them within our brand. Alrighty. um, yeah, so we are now starting to make our marketing plan. We now know like we have decided whether we want to make a brand awareness strategy or a direct response strategy or lifestyle. um, we already know in the purchase cycle that we want to affect several spots in the purchase cycle. We know our target and we know our competition. um, but now we have to decide. Okay, no, we don't know our target yet. We are now deciding the target, the customers. um, who do we choose? Because in depending who we choose, we are going to need to communicate in a certain aspect or in another. Do we want to target rich people? um, they have a lot of money. It's very easy to ask for higher prices if your customer is rich. Okay, so then we have to know they usually live in suburban areas outside the city in bigger houses. They are a certain demographic of age. They might not be super with their phones all day. Yeah, politically motivated. Yes, so we get the idea, right? So when we choose a customer, um, we have to identify what's their the thing that defines that customer and what's their interest and how do we target that one. So once we have identified what defines that customer, we have to, okay, what messages do we send to to address to that customer, right? So for in the middle case, someone that's politically motivated, we can send a message or we can post a photo of us saying, hey, we pay our workers and and we are all like under some contract. We are not freelancers. We are not trying to scam the labor hours out of a man somewhere in a van. So that gets that politically motivated person to engage with the company and say, "Oh, this is nice. I will choose this company because they pay the workers." If you are targeting an environmentally motivated audience, you say, "We don't have cars. Everything is done with bikes," and they say, "Like, fuck yeah, awesome. These are the guys I will choose for my deliveries." Okay, so that's easy and clear. um, it's not only what messages we need to send, but also like what channel are we using to send those messages. Because if we're targeting rich people and we want to say that we work with the fanciest restaurants and we only have a high quality service and our delivery guys are wearing a suit and tie to your house, but we post that on social media and that rich people is not on social media, the message won't reach to the correct person. So we will not only be addressing, not only not reaching our customers, but only also we will be addressing people that's not interested in the fact that the rider is in a suit and a tie. Okay, so it's important to choose what message we are delivering in what channel. This is also interesting to make like a multi-message communication. If we want to not only target one audience but target different aspects of our company to different audiences, we can select different channels to communicate each thing. For example, in our fancy restaurants, we leave physical QR codes for customers that go to the restaurant, just to see that they also have fancy delivery at home. But they will physically see that when they go to a fancy restaurant, so that they will get that information in a context of a nice dinner and yeah. But the people that's environmentally motivated um, follows us on Instagram. So we will make a post saying, "Hey, CO2 delivery today," and they will engage with that positively. But so we are targeting the two things, but in two different channels. It's not one excluding the other, so to speak. Um, where? Yeah. Okay. So the budget of communication, it's also sort of. Mm, am I getting this correctly, Paul? This is like a advertising cost of the stuff.
Yeah. So marketing is really fun. Everyone likes to do marketing and make videos and stuff like that usually. But if the correct way to do this is to have a budget, and maybe it's a budget of time, maybe it's a budget of money, but it's important to think about how you're going to invest your time or your money. Frankly, it's not the most difficult of the steps. I'd say that the earlier steps here are actually a lot harder, but it's important to mention the budgeting part and to keep in mind the difference between initial investment and ongoing costs, right? So some cooperatives do have things like Google ads or Instagram ads or things like that. It's an ongoing cost you're going to have to eat every single month. So I forget why these three categories were put these ways, but in types of different examples that you might decide what to do is that maybe with one demographic where you're trying to choose this message and communicate it to them through this channel during this moment of the purchase process. Well, that type part of if that part of the purchase process requires it to be a large initial investment, but then we're not have to do much afterwards. Or maybe it's something that we don't have to do much, but we have to do it every single month. So making a budget about what you need to do is important, is the summary of this slide.
Yep. Okay. As Paul said, like once we are like planning for a campaign and making a budget on like how do we want to structure the actual cost of when the work is going to take or how much we have to pay on advertising or something, we also have to make a goal and an indicator on how to measure the success of that campaign. Um, for example, with rich people, are we getting frequent high value orders? um, and it's easy to measure, like what's the order value we're getting. If we are not getting them, it's maybe we are not reaching them properly. We have to change something. But if we don't set this, we can be talking into the abyss and no one's listening and we don't know. So it's important to, like, when you decide, you write on a paper, okay, I want to target 30 to 50 high school teachers, because they make €30 orders. Like, okay, how many €30 orders did you get from these kind of people? Like, as the moment you make the goal and decide what the indicator will be, you will be good to go in order to be able to measure it 1 year later. It's not necessarily something that will be a daily thing, or something that will take extra work. It's just having in mind, like, how are we gonna measure that if this is working or not. So if we summarize all this, we can see, like, yeah, we can define like a table like this for the kind of customer that we want to address, um, make different plans for it, and then just decide, like, the goals and how often to measure. Mm, all right. Um, Regarding lifestyle branding, this is just the most long-term stuff. It's more of, we sell to people that cycle every day, and it's part of their daily life to order Eraman burger every night. Okay, maybe not, but it's, yeah. For example, Nike or brands like this one. It's just a matter of, it's a small logo, but you see it everywhere, and it's related to
Yep.
winners,
Can I
to
just,
competitive people.
before
Go ahead.
going into it completely, the reason why this section is, there's a lot of different types of marketing, and this is one type of many. And the reason why this is the one that's here is because it's one that we're strong with. The idea of lifestyle branding is that people associate themselves and their identity with the product. And normal big companies that are capitalists and just want to sell you shoes, they spend huge amounts of money to try to get you to identify as a Nike person or an Adidas person. And it's really hard for them because they're just selling you shoes for money. There's not really, like, it's very hard for them to make this into a cultural, political, social statement, right? In our case, we actually are social, political, and cultural economic entities, right? We are part of the local commerce. We do have political values that we want to demonstrate towards others. And so this should be something we can do easily or better than people with more money than us. So what does that look like in practice? For food tech, I have never met someone who identified as someone who uses the Globo app, which is or a Deliveroo app or the Uber Eats app. That's not been a thing. Sometimes people prefer Uber instead of something else, but no one goes around wearing Uber shirts. I've never seen that. I have seen people wearing Nike shirts. That's because Nike has successfully become a lifestyle brand. Uber has not. Um, in our case, it would be pretty easy to get people to start wearing our shirts. That's because people like what we're doing. People consider it a social, political, valuable thing. Why this is important is because it plays to our strengths. Lifestyle brands are usually capable of getting customers to be more loyal to their brand easier than a non-lifestyle branding company. So if that means food tech, it has a series of consequences, but again, it's not just about food tech, right? A lot of local small shops will pay more money or change the way they do deliveries because you are the local cooperative. They want to work with you because you're local and you're nice and you're those guys on bikes. I see them around. I like them. Maybe my friend's neighbor's kid has worked with them before, right? Um, so I have seen some people try to use things like Google Ads in the way that Coca-Cola uses Google Ads, right? Like Eraman food, Eraman food, Eraman food. And that's really hard to compete with Globo or Uber Eats because they just have a shit ton more money than you do, right? In this case, we're competing in a terrain where we have the advantage. So that's why this is on there. Go ahead.
Yep. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. So basically, how do you how do you make yourself within that lifestyle of people? It's not that we are selling T-shirts and that people will be wearing your cooperative T-shirt. It's more of a thing that people can say that, hey, yeah, I am an Eraman customer, or I order food with these guys because I believe in the local stuff. So it's something that people can wear as a badge, so to speak. Okay, so how do we translate all these options into the co-ops, into what I've been mentioning a lot of how to apply this into our cases, but this is, yeah, now we go into the components that we need, what do we need to define and design for us to have a brand, how to apply it, and how to make material that will allow us to be identifiable and all that. So, oh, this is in Spanish. Okay, but I will just. Uh, okay,
Sorry.
I will. I no, I'll go through this in English. So we will check what we actually need, see some examples, go through a guide of general use of the material that we should be creating, how to use it on social media, the physical material, and then like how frequent we will be programming, thinking on not what we will communicate, but how often and when. So the goal here is to standardize brand identity. That's one of the first keys. Like decide on a logo, design on a color, design on a tone that you will be using. Like have a standardized brand over all your material, over your designs, or everything that you will post online, whatever. And then it's also good practice to decentralize the like, so this guide will allow us to decentralize the creation of a media production, so to speak. So if anyone knows this, anyone in a certain cooperative can like take part into the marketing process. Okay, so everyone can add photos to a shared folder so we can post them later together, or that everyone can take a video, or everyone can make a yeah a call to a customer explaining things in a certain way. Everyone can respond the same thing when a customer calls. Yeah, so that's the way we decentralize the brand itself within the cooperative. So what do we need to create this brand? We need a logo type plus a logo plus an icon. We'll see examples of what's what. Then how to apply this in the real world through stickers, through using vinyl stickers for windows on restaurants and stuff. Then we need to also apply the same designs into printed flyers, make posters, make digital designs for social networks and stuff. So um, what's an example of a logo type, a logo, and an icon? Here you can see like a logo type includes not only the logo, but also like some sort of subtext, or you see a bit of extra info. It's more complex than a logo, so you need to use it carefully. It's not the thing that you will put in a very small size in a corner of a photo, because the extra info will get lost. That's what you use the logo for. It's the maximum recognition of your brand is here. It must work in a very broad spectrum of uses. Like it can go over a picture, it can go on top of a document, it can go on your invoices, um, and ideally it should also work in one single color. Mm, not not necessarily, but this is a good practice in terms of graphic design, because that way you can make stencils out of it. You can make cheaper vinyl stickers. You can print on black and white on a printer and have it recognizable, and yeah. And then you have the icon, which is like the minimum expression on where you still identify the brand, but it works so also like with no other context. So it can be the favicon of a website. Um, it can work as a stamp. Yeah, you get the idea. Then apart from the logo, it's also really nice to have a typography or a font decided to any design you will make, any across all platforms, everything that's printed, that's digital, whatever, to have defined the font that you will all share. And this is very nerdy. All the designers that are super nerdy about this will be assholes about this, like, and the people that don't put it into value, they will just, they don't understand why designers are so annoying with this. But it's one of the things that more subconsciously affects the expression of a brand. The moment you see a font used properly, you identify a brand even without watching the logo. It's very special and important. So it's very nice to have a shared folder with the fonts that you are using. So everyone in the co-op has the fonts. And if anyone has to make a document, has to make a design to publish in social networks, whatever, choose a font and have everyone installed it in the computer. Um, yeah, for example, here we have the main font and the secondary font are not available as Google fonts. So we have different sets of fonts for different uses. It doesn't need to be like super restrictive, but as long as it's one decided and it's coherent and consistent, that will work on the brand awareness aspect. If it's not consistent, even if one is nicer than the last one you used, if it's not consistent, you are losing the value of the coherence of the brand. Apart from the font, very important to choose a color. And nice to have it referenced in some sort of code, like a Pantone, RGB codes, or hex codes, so you can use it in both in print, in digital, and across all platforms to have it consistent. It's nicer to have a hex code than to say, yeah, our brand is yellow, because there are infinite amounts of yellow. So it's probably more annoying to the eye to have different shades of yellow than to have one color each week, so to speak. So it's even if you are using Paint or the most basic design tool, it's easy to identify with the color picker, like what color are you using for your brand. Okay, now that we have um, logo, logo types, icons, we have the font ready, we have the color ready. Um, we can also establish a way of how are we presenting the logo, how are we um, enquadring, I don't know that word in English, like what composition will we be using for our designs, for our documents, for everything. It's yeah, this is an example of what we have set up at Eraman. It's not like this is how you should do it, but just an example on how much do we define it. Um, just yeah, so how do we use the logo on top of photo? How do we put it on a document and stuff? Yeah, just as a guide. Okay, as an example. How do we use this on social media? So we always try to follow the same graphical elements, and how, and we publish this within our internal documents on examples on how to, yeah, if someone's going to make a photo, like you can make it like this and use the logo like this and frame it with this graphic element. And yeah, and it's also a good idea to design some graphic stickers that you can save on your phone to interact on social media while adding your branding on top. like the last example you can see there. That's pretty useful because you can turn all your customers' content into your content with little effort. Here are some other examples on physical material, like how we design, for example, a flyer, with how we use the colors and the compositions and the QRs, and how always we integrate emojis with very hand-drawn style. Mm, we always use the same font. You can see there, mm, how we combine the fonts. It's the two of them, Swiss Intel and Accurate Mono. But you can just, yeah, choose two and, and use them all the time. That's the thing. You can see the consistency of the fonts through the three designs, even though they are very different. And when it comes to programming, it's not only important to have a consistent message, a consistent image, and the brand, and the color, and the font, everything, but also to have a consistency on the amount of times you show up in the people's screens or in people's lives if you are not following just a social media strategy. So here's an example of how we integrate regular posts and regular publishing that we build our brand upon, with irregular posts that are circumstantial to whether we get a new customer or a new restaurant that's onboarding or something. So we try to have a stock of photos, with some presets edited in similar ways that follow a certain composition, so we can weekly post them and stay on top of what we want to send as a message. Like, we can use that weekly posting as sharing our values to one of the targeted audience that we choose. Like, if we decide to target politically motivated people, we can use a photo of one of our riders and explain like our working conditions weekly on a post, and that will access to that kind of customer. And then we can use the day-to-day stories to affect in a more lifestyle basis, in a more here's what we are, and present ourselves in a more mm, close to our customers sort of service, where we share our daily activities with them, we mention them, and we engage with them daily, and that can act on a different group of customers that are really not so much politically motivated, but they really like to feel close to us, and they engage in that segment of posting that we do. That's like the regular stuff that we do, and then irregular things that you can define how you're going to post anytime you have a new restaurant, anytime you have a post about a client. So here's an example on how we define that. So every time we have a commerce or a new client or whatever, we post a carousel with three photos mentioning the location, showing the bike, what they are selling, and showing a rider, for example. Pero como nos vamos a ver con Carolina, hola. Yo diría que Carolina, como para el miércoles, ¿no? Carolina. Ah, bueno, dijo, o que mañana antes de las 6. All right.
All right.
Good. Yeah, so you get the idea. This is not like something about a specific. Yeah, it's more of an example on how we used to define it. So you can see just how deep or how loose you can go on an example on a calendar weekly based. Alrighty. Now, Paul, you wanna follow? Paul not here.
All right. So I'll tell you when to switch slides, Juan. So this was the idea was to do sort of a lot of theory, and then take it down to reality. So first, there's a few quick tips, and then there's sort of a case study. If anyone would like us to look at what they're doing a little bit or tell us what they're doing, we can give feedback. Now would be a good time to start thinking if you want to volunteer. I have someone in mind who does marketing pretty well. Starting with the quick tips, though. So the first thing is targeting the wrong audience. uh, we do have to be careful about who it is that we're trying to sell our products to. In our case, in Eraman, we have a lot of politically motivated people who don't actually make very many orders, but they got all of their friends and their parents to order from us. We talked to them through specific media channels of sort of left-wing radio station and magazines, and many of those people didn't end up buying a lot of food, but they did. A lot of people heard about us through those people, which meant that we got a lot of orders. So sometimes so for example, a lot of cooperatives have done a crowdfunding to get original money. Sometimes the people who give you crowdfunding money are not the people that are going to later purchase your service, right? Maybe someone really believes in your cause, loves what you're doing, but doesn't buy hamburgers to be delivered to their house. That's a possibility. So that's one thing that we've seen before is be very specific about who your audience is and who's going to bring you money. Next one, Juan. Marketing can be very fun, and it should be, but it's really easy to get excited about it and do it because you want to do it. Honestly, I see this less now. I think a lot of cooperatives were newer last year, and they were still in the excited phase, and they were spending a lot of time in marketing, in part because they just liked it. And it was good at the very beginning because it meant they took it seriously. They made a brand book, they made a logo, they made colors, and they were very consistent. But 2 years later, it's some people, they didn't need to be doing all the stuff that they were doing. In English, we say we have diminishing returns, which is if you do something too much, you get less every time you do it, right? So you don't want to do too much marketing, the same you don't want to do too little marketing. Next one. Too many styles. This one, honestly, I see constantly, everywhere in the world, but especially with stuff like us. A lot of us really believe in having sort of human businesses, right? And humans are messy and complicated. And maybe today I want pink, and maybe tomorrow I want blue. But for marketing, that's not good. For marketing, the consistency is really important. I think we've said this like 4 times now. I'm sorry we repeat ourselves, but this is like the main thing. This is one of the biggest problems people have is the lack of consistency. So pick something simple, something clean, and then just keep doing that. And don't change it all the time, even though you want to. Next one, Juan. Ignoring hierarchy. I've also seen this a lot. I think this is because it's the same way when you try to explain something to someone, right? Like maybe you're making a dinner recipe, right? And maybe for you, you think it's really easy. And you forget that for someone else, because everything is new, when you try to explain it, you forget half of the things, right? The same way when people explain a message or they explain a concept, they take a lot of things for granted, right? They imagine maybe you already know what the word cycle logistics means, or you already know that the gig economy is bad. Some people don't know the gig economy is bad, right? And I think that the not having hierarchy sometimes reflects that same thing. Hierarchy is really, really important to make the global information clear. And I think a lot of people put a title and then a big block of text. And having the hierarchy, I think, is really important for users. Next one, Juan, if you're still there. um, Repetition is key. It ties into some of the other ones. But it's something in marketing that's really important is that it gets more powerful really fast if people see you in multiple places. So, for example, if someone sees you 10 times on Instagram, maybe that'll be an amount of impact in their mind, in their brain. But if they see you in one time on Instagram, one time in a pamphlet, one time on the street with a nice jacket and a nice backpack, and a cool bicycle, and then they also see you in the newspaper. Maybe it's only 4 times they see you instead of 10 times, but because they see you in different places with the same logo and the same message to a specific demographic, make sure that message is very similar in your radio interviews, in your newspaper interviews, in your Instagram, on your website, in all of those places. Next one, Juan. I'm not sure how many there are. That's how many there were. There were 4 of them. So the next one's the case of Now Food, which last year we did Now Food as a case study because they were here and they sort of presented Now Food as a concept. I'm imagining that Elliot, you wouldn't be able to present Now Food's marketing strategy. Is that correct?
No, I won't be able to speak about urban marketing, but day by day I know more than no food marketing. That I know it's we have a full time people to to publish at Instagram to for the communication. Um, but I can maybe talk when I know some information about you talk.
Juan, can you present the slides of the visual stuff that they have here? And then at the end, I can sort of go over what they said about where this was inspired from and all those things.
Yes, perfect. Does this work?
Yeah.
That was nice. So that's yeah, that's the video they made, right? Like when they presented the new brand and stuff. And it's yeah. Oh shit. Okay. Alrighty. Um, yeah. So basically, that video is like one more ingredient into a full brand, like how they present themselves as, yeah, we work local. We work with whenever you are at home and feel like having something healthy, we arrive quick. How the video is edited, it's specifically targeting healthy food. It's a lot of things that are communicating in the video that it's very consistent with the brand. Um, so basically, what they did is try to target the specific customers that they would be addressing ethical customers that want to consume what they are consuming, vegetarian, vegan, young but not super young, so they have mm, purchase ability. And they also wanted to target like startup people, kind of young, motivated, that they want to get something meaningful with what they do in life, and also target some students that they are younger, so they like when things are cheaper and have promotions, but they also, yeah, they have some core values that they want to follow, and they were not targeting businesses specifically. um, so once they define who are they communicating to, um, they were like choosing, so no excuses anymore to not order local ethic food delivery to your city. So it's not only the message but the tool they're sending, like you don't have excuses, it's very direct. It's not for a rich old lady, so to speak. So they also define a certain tone that fits with the unethical consumer that's 28, 32 years old, a student. The tone that they are choosing in the message is also consistent. So they follow like the passionate riders did a well-made restaurant selection. Let's enjoy it together. And a heart, like even a heart. It's so close. It's very very compelling. Um, so that's the thing. Like once you define like what customer you are communicating to, you can just also, yeah, very easily create the full picture of everything. The colors, they go with an orange, easy to identify, but also the font is very sans serif. It's modern, it's elegant. I don't know, it's consistent, and you can see this how it fits with this picture, with the video. Everything goes together. And then how are they communicating it? They focus a lot on social media, Facebook and LinkedIn. In each social media has um, their own audiences, their own target. So Instagram is especially for food. Everyone knows like how much people love to post food on social media, on Instagram. Then a little bit of an older audience might be on Facebook, and they it's a place where you can focus on how eco you are, like more of older generation ecologist movement. They might be somewhere in Facebook. um, and then they also combine that social networks presence with a press list, basically like list of contacts that you can contact whenever you are launching something or whatever. um, this together with flyers and posters to have presence on the street, plus some YouTube video that's easy to share online and stuff. It's very important, the combination of social network and street marketing, because like if someone sees you on a social network and then they some rider hands them a flyer and they see the same logo, it's not like it's not it's more like the two impacts, the social network and the flyer, are more than the sum of the individual two impacts, so to speak. So you get more out of reciprocity, if you, because it rings a bell when they see like, oh, where did I see this? Ah, yeah, I saw a post somewhere of a friend that had ordered from these guys, and they recognize the orange color, they recognize the logo, and they say, oh yeah, I will check them out. So that the consistency of combining more than one communication line is very very important, and yeah, they did it perfectly in Now Food. They spend, yeah, flyers are not cheap. Anytime you have to print something in large scale and with nice paper and stuff, yeah, it's an investment, but it's, yeah, it's nice to have it as an account of reciprocity, as we were speaking. And in their case, they spent like 1200 euros on the flyers and posters, 1000 euros on the video, to have it that nicely edited with all the audio on point, actors maybe. And then they have like a half-time community manager, and yeah, and that's how you do it. um, the goals they had were clear about launching and the snowball effect that's easy to start small and to create fidelity with the customers with a very good service and a very close approach. So you can feel it in this picture. It's funny with the animal on the backpack, the identifiable color. Everyone will know them. Anyway, everything is very easy to remember. It's like, yeah, I got my food from a guy with a Ice Age character in the backpack. It's really fun, and it's easy to create fidelity with this and make a snowball effect that will, mm, yeah, get bigger and bigger over time. And then the timeline they defined was 2 months after the campaign, so they would analyze how the numbers were going according to the investment, according to how many targeted people they reached, and all that. So it's also like define the timeline. That's a good practice. Like okay, let's check it 2 months from now and see where we got. Do we need more time? Do we need more investment? Did we do okay? What did we learn?
So the idea here then was that what we hope for people to do after this is make a marketing plan. And it can be a small one or it can be a big one. If you're a food tech cooperative, maybe it needs to be a relatively developed plan. Maybe in Granollers Pedala, where you guys just work with the local government and NASEX, if I remember right. Maybe it's a little bit more simple. But the idea is that simple or complex, everyone should go through those steps of making a template plan, right? What is my demographic? What message am I communicating? How am I communicating it? What part of the purchase process are they in? How do I keep them loyal over time, right? Especially people who are working with your local government. Maybe you think that marketing isn't super important because you work with your local government. If most of your money comes from the local government, you should be really, really interested in client fidelity. Because if you work with the local government and they're big, they pay for a lot of your stuff, they're a very important customer. So what I want to do now for the next 30 minutes or so is have people talk about how marketing works for them. So I'm going to do what I did last week, which is either let people volunteer or really aggressively call out everybody in order of the list that I have on my screen here. And tell us about what is your marketing like? Do you have a big plan? Do you just do it without a plan? What would you like to do? Just what is the state of marketing for your cooperative and your situation? Is there anyone who would like to talk first?
Come on.
I can go first. It's easy because we don't have any marketing plan. We have like a website that at the moment is under construction, and everything we have now, all the clients and this is just because we have gone directly to them, or they have come to us, and so our history so far is like this, and we are not searching for more at the moment. So this is it.
So if you were to think about it for a minute, like who are your demographics?
Who are my what?
Demographics. Who are you talking to? Who are your customers?
Local clients
Mhm.
and one operadora, Nacex.
Yeah, last mile provider.
Yeah, last
Yeah.
mile provider. Maybe we try to go to talk to another last mile provider, but directly go into the client. And if we get it, it's okay. If it not,
Do you know how your local clients learn about you?
um, No, a lot of them they don't know us, but at the city we are so far the only ones that we are making this service by bike. So I think they know us, but they don't come to talk with us, and we don't go to them. So I don't know. Yes.
So there might be a situation where there's awareness that you exist, but
Yeah.
at the moment of purchase, people for some reason aren't calling you, for example.
Um,
Paul, can you repeat the last thing?
I said, so perhaps if it's a small city and they're the only bicycle delivery people, there's probably a high level of awareness. People know, they've seen the guys with the bicycles. But for some reason, at the moment of purchasing, of needing a delivery, they might not be, for some reason, calling you. So maybe you need to like do some interviews and figure out like what's happening in the purchase process or something. I don't know.
yes, I think they know us, but they don't know exactly what we do because they see us on the streets,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't know exactly um, who are we working for or what are our service. So yeah, we don't know. They don't know what we are doing in the city. They see us and recognize us, but they don't know what are we working in.
Cool.
Yeah, it would
I s-
be amazing to have a marketing plan, but so far we don't have any.
that can be something we work on. I saw someone raised their hand. I think maybe it was Camille. Am I
Should
wrong?
should I?
Maybe
Okay.
Camille didn't raise her hand. All right. Does anyone else want to talk about their marketing? All right. I think, Albin, you don't actually have to, but you are first on my list. Maybe it's alphabetical. You're technically. Do you want to talk about Corvo's marketing, Albin? Can you, since you're recording? Maybe you can't.
That's a nice excuse.
All right. Next person on the list is Clement from BFast. What is your marketing like, Clement?
Yeah, about our marketing, I think we don't have a plan, really a big plan, but we study some ways like a mailing list from the our client already called us. We to give them promotions or something like that. And after we are on Instagram and
The brand is great. That's I don't know then if you don't have a plan or not, but it's very current and a very nice brand.
yeah,
Yeah. Mhm.
yeah. I think Leo is better in English, and he's better in marketing too. He has the formation with this.
Yes, I can take it from here so if you want. So in the first, we still don't have an actual marketing plan, but we are not like rebranding Be Fast because, like you said, one I think the brand is pretty nice, pretty recognizable in the city. Um, One of the key facts we had about our specific image is that people saw us like a food delivery platform actually. Like they didn't know we were cooperative, for example. They didn't know we were local, and they think they think we only deliver food and not like other stuff, because like we do local businesses also, but it's not like as visible because it's not like on hours when people are in the streets. So the first thing we did like in at when I took the actual like design from BeFast in hand, because I'm a designer. Before I was a bike courier. Strange choices, but why not? I I I made like more like templates and everything to like streamline the marketing process, we can say. Sort of like only like the big messages and photos to change, and we can just have nice templates with the BeFast branding. And the second forward we are like working on is to have like some lifestyle marketing. Actually, we are like funding some kind of cycling club. We are organizing social rides, film projections at local venues, and the idea is to like invite like bike people from the city and have this kind of word of mouth, like okay, the first are like CoopCycle guys delivering food and stuff, and it's nice. So that's the idea. Like the only like big plan, like future stuff, is that lifestyle marketing development, but on a more like calendar stuff, like making plans for um, regularly to post regularly on social media, etc. We are not like on point yet, but we're working on it.
It's great to integrate the lifestyle marketing in that way. Um it's super nice. The only thing I see is like if you only focus on that one, it's hard to reach a bigger audience that
Yeah.
the people that already knows you and they are like very close friends and stuff. But for example, it's a very easy way of combining the lifestyle marketing of organizing social rides to making a jump into a more broad audience. Like you can, for example, take a lot of photos in those social rights and program a weekly post of 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 that, and like just program them weekly and say like, hey, from last hey, join the next social right, hey, whatever. And that way you just take the social right and target it into a broader audience, and that's like super easy to build a backup stock of photos just for from the events you make. That's
Yes.
that's very nice.
That's the plan actually.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine it's not easy, but it's very nice to have that lifestyle background. It's really cool. And also, I'm thinking of you maybe can make like visit cards as labels on honey pots, super
Oh,
small honey jars.
we made we I made a mean version of our logo for the cycling club. I don't know if I can I don't know if I can like share on this, but I could like post it on Slack maybe.
And I think she'll be able to share screen as well because I wasn't the organizer and I could. So
Uh, Not sure. No. Oh. Oh. Okay. So share. It will be my second screen. Yeah. So this is a nice logo, like BeFast actual logo for business and stuff. and this is our BFAST Cycling Club flyers.
Mm-hmm.
So we put sports in brackets because it's mostly beer, but yeah. So
Yeah.
that's nice.
And the bee is angry there. It's so nice. It's so nicely. So you have a lot of work done, targeting different audiences and stuff, but mostly from the design, and it's just a matter of writing it down in a doc, right? Of making it tangible. But
So we have also like so the templates. I can't really show you the templates because it's like working documents and it will be pretty long to open. But we have templates for Instagram stories. So mostly like this is always the same font. We are using like a template with the yellow background. It's it's always like the same template, and this can be used by any of us.
Yeah, that's great.
The files are shared and everything. So that's it for BeFast, I guess.
Super nice. What a cool example. Just make real honey jars with a QR to CoopCycle and give out honey to people with the logo on top.
Yeah, honey is not cheap. I think
Yeah.
it would be a really expensive marketing.
You could maybe ask a honey farm for free samples or something.
Yeah, maybe.
Nice. All right, next person, Elliot. It's been another week. You've been there for now 2 weeks now. Food. So maybe still, I don't know. Do you know anything about the marketing in Now Food, or should we wait till next week?
No, I think it's the beginning of my comprehension there. That's really interesting because I work for two companies like Cours and No Food. So both of them is really complementary because we speak to No Food customer about Cours and we speak about Cours to customer about No Food. So we can train like that some customer. We to No Food we had see we have a lot of marketing like some pets grab on a bag, and when you walk in the north you can recognize some bicycle No Food. So with that's very complementary. For les courses we are badly in social media, contrary to No Food. But on we trainer, we can put our brand. So when we ride in Nantes, we can recognize les courses even if we don't have some pet to grab on our bag. And I think that's all.
Well, I think maybe take a look at what Leo was doing, where it has the same concept but modified slightly, so you understand it's the same thing but a version. It's going to be an interesting project to figure out what to do with the Le Corsair Nantais and the Now Food brands, because maintain them completely separate, combine them somehow. It's going to be an interesting project. The next person on my list here is Remy. Hi, Remy.
Hi. What's
Tell
the
us about your
question?
marketing.
About the marketing of Cycle P. For the moment, we don't have marketing plan, and I don't know when we will have a marketing plan. For
is
the
a
moment,
lie.
I'm making
That's not true.
Instagram and only Instagram. Some story I don't have plan because we don't have time and we don't have brain to make it. It's
But you do have a very consistent Instagram presence. You do something very steady. It's nice. You do it regularly.
it depends when I have when it depends. Sometimes no for in the history of the corps we had a plan and we thought about which messages and we start to say the and we are the alternative of platform and we are luchar. How do you say luchar?
Fight.
To fight.
Fight, yeah, fight for the right, uh, right. What about mierda? I forgot how to say. Bueno, to
Labor
for
rights.
the yes,
Human
worker
rights.
legacy, right of
The right to
yes
party.
of yes. After we change because and we start to go for in the social economy and after we change the discourse this it's okay discourse uh, with um, with we are local and we are trying to make a local development and we are friends with the the boutique the shop and etc. After we we stopped have as have the ID because I couldn't more think about this. And so for the moment we don't have plan and we are I'm trying to make some stuff when I'm not lazy. I'm free to make it.
All right. Next person. Goodbye, Arthur. Thank you. The next person is Camille. Perhaps Camille can't talk. We'll go back to Camille if possible. I have an anonymous person, so I don't know who you are, so I can't call on you. And I have Quentin. Quentin, you do marketing. Tell us about your marketing, Quentin.
Yes, personally, we try to show in our Instagram the most important information. If we had restaurants or if we do some